Welcome to the first truly fully live edition of the Social Spreader. I am fired up here today. I was actually planning on not even doing a show here today. I usually have some notes. I just kind of type out some things and I have it here on my screen to kind of keep me on track. But after seeing the news this morning, the reactive old white man morality of the National Football League really prompted me to hit record and come on here today. So, Calvin Ridley, I understand the optics. I understand that it took 3 weeks for the National Football League to strip itself completely naked, lay on the bed, and open its legs when it came to the money of sports gambling. I've been saying it since 2003 to all of the investors in the Minneapolis area in 2007 who called me immoral and wrong for wanting to open the largest sports restaurant. Go fuck yourselves. But then again, I heard 3 of you are actually serving hard time now for wire fraud and securities trading fraud. So good for you. I'm so glad I did not go into business with you guys. But when you see a year-long suspension for someone who was apparently trying to hit parlays on a team that he wasn't playing on, but meanwhile he was kind of going through some mental health stuff. Look, I understand the optics, but I also will never understand how reactive the National Football League is. And I will never understand that they are trying to be judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to issues of discipline. Let's just take a... I understand that there's an appeals and there's going to be an initial appeal process from Calvin Ridley, and this is all worked out in a lot of arbitration that nobody fully understands because nothing about the judiciary system or the laws in this country make any fucking sense. But just for reference, just so you know what it is that we are working with. And I'm going to go each end of the aisle. All right? Let's start with Greg Hardy. Do we need to go over what he did? Do we need to go over what kind of person he is? Or what kind of person he quote-unquote was? Do we need to do that? The answer is absolutely not. He was suspended for 8 games, reduced to 4. So the initial suspension was half a season. Okay? Moving on. Richie Incognito. We all know what kind of person he is. Look up his police report in Scottsdale, Arizona. Go ahead. Look it up. How many games did he get? 4. And it was reduced to 2. If you want to take some kind of moral stand, have a moral leg to stand on. When you look at the 32 owners, and I'm not going to even talk about McNair, the racist asshole down in Houston. Let's talk about Dan Snyder. Let's talk about Jerry Jones. And people go, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, Jerry Jones? During the winter storm, 2 years ago or a year ago, he jacked up the prices of oil. Like, look, scum comes in many forms and it comes in many ways. But this reactive morality of the National Football League has to fucking stop. This is patently absurd. Absolutely absurd. You knew something like this was going to happen. But were you thinking about it when your legs were completely over your head? When you jumped into bed with the sports gambling money? No, because you don't care. You are not a league that cares about sportsmanship. You are not a league that cares about doing the right thing. You care about money. That's all you care about. That's all you give a shit. That's all you've ever cared about. That's all you probably ever will care about. And now you are giving a 1-year suspension to a player for simply being a customer of the companies that you are fucking? I understand that maybe I may not be the most but well, I am biased because, and you know what? I'm not going to even veer away from the fact that I am biased. The moralities of this country, and don't even get me started. I promise I won't start, okay? This is a live show. I am speaking off the hip. I'm shooting off the hip with everything, all right? I'm not going to even start with the quote-unquote morality of this fucking country. But the same people who would rather make a woman be forced to have a child are the same people who said for decades putting $5 on a team to cover the spread makes you an immoral person, makes you a horrible person. Meanwhile, those same people are xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, racist. And I'm the bad person because I think the Chicago fucking Bears suck against the Packers, and I want to make some money. Really? And now you're the same people who suspended Greg Hardy 8 games reduced to 4 for beating the shit out of his fiance and throwing her on a mattress full of automatic rifles? Or Richie Incognito and everything that he did, 2 games? If you, for a company in an entertainment industry like the National Football League to be in the morality business is patently absurd and immoral. And the irony is that quote unquote sports fans, air quote sports fans, are going to side with the National Football League and say, oh yeah, man, you can't do that. You can't wager on sports. Okay. All right. But as long as your star player gets to play for your team, you're willing to stretch the morality that you have, but because of him being a client of the financial, of where the finances come from right now when it comes to the National Football League. He was a client of theirs. He's wrong. But the National Football League is right for suspending him for a year. Come on, people. Be better. Evolve. Improve. Look in the mirror. What are we doing? What are we talking about here? And how many people, how many coaches, how many staff, how many players are not going to be caught? How many players are giving their friends money and having them have a wager? They're athletes. There's nothing wrong with it. NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball, which no one gives a shit about. And are they even going to play? Oh yeah, sorry, the old white men want to keep their money. They don't want to give it to the people who actually make their sport relevant. Good for you. Good for you, little men. Good for you. But all of these leagues have signed it. They've signed it over. They want the money. Because for decades, sports gambling has been the only thing that's moved any needle. That's that makes things happen when it comes to having action on a game. We can't play these games. I mean, a long time ago I could, and I was really good. I'm still very, very good at basketball, but we as the consumer can. Now, does that mean that an athlete cannot consume the sport anymore? Does that mean that if you're a player, you're simply a player, you can't be a fan? Now we get into the weeds. Now, no, I'm not accusing any player of handing their friends money to place wagers on them. But if they are, so what? So fucking what? Pete Rose is still out of the game. I'm sorry, still out of the Hall of Fame for something that is now legal? Hypocrisy. Corruption. That's all that it is. And it goes right along with the leagues of this country and the country itself. Yes, I'm biased. Yes, I think people should be able to put action on games. And I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. If I'm a player, especially a wide receiver, I have, I'd say, 2%. On average, I have a 2% chance of making a total change in the game, of the outcome of this game. There are so many factors that go into how a wide receiver can impact the outcome of a game that, again, so what? Who gives a shit? You're gonna suspend him for a year, but you didn't suspend Greg Hardy for a year? Or Richie Incognito? Make it make sense. Make something make sense. And of course, the first one through the wall always gets... Wait, no, what's that saying? You get bloodied if you're the first one through the wall? Okay. When has that made sense? Make it make sense. And a year-long... the quarterback needs time to throw it to you. You might be up against one of the best secondaries in the NFL. You might tweak an ankle in the first play of the game. You might tear your ACL trying to make a cut, a non-contact injury. There are so many factors that go into what a wide receiver can do in terms of determining the outcome of a game, that to think because he was putting a parlay he's somehow tainting the game. You don't care about you don't care. The NFL always wins. The NFL doesn't care. They obviously don't care. They have no morals whatsoever. Yet they still find the need to flex their moral muscles when something doesn't agree with their narrative. And I'm so happy that the National Football League has ended racism by stenciling it in the fucking end zone. Meanwhile, you are whiteballing a quarterback that's got 3 playoff records. Fuck you. It's unbelievable how reactive morals, reactive morality is something that is still a thing. That is still a thing. How many owners are putting down money on games? Oh, that's right. We'll never find out. Why is that? You answer the question. Anyway, we're still going to do the show. I know sometimes I come on here with a little social commentary or rant, whichever way that you want to look at it. I just have a serious problem with immoral people putting their moralities on other people. It is the plague upon humanity, and especially in this fucking country. And if you really want to be, no, you don't. You don't. The National Football League is ill-equipped, ill-advised, just ill-equipped in every sense of the word. to somehow put a moral stamp on someone else's actions. It's absolutely hypocritical and corrupt to the nth degree. Let's do some lines. So, I think it was in November, actually, where this team that I'm wearing, and for people who are listening, I know what I just did is extremely terrible for only an audio medium. I'm wearing my Miami Vice, Miami Heat shirt because in November, I claimed that they were the best team in the East. And hold on. Sorry, I had to yawn. I'm exhausted from always being right. I'm just kidding. Am I? And so it's what they were able to do without Kyle Lowry against the top 4 teams in the East, and they should have beaten the Bucks. I don't know what happened. That was a very weird game, but it's sports. It's the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality television. I'm sorry. The only reality television on earth is sports, because you literally don't know what is going to happen next. You have no clue. You can hypothesize and try to make some money off of what you think it will happen. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Never mind. That's immoral. Even though, again, every league is being fucked. Proper fucked. Right. Told me. And they are happy. They're happy, actually, to be in bed with all the money that comes in from the casinos, comes in from the sports books. They're happy to do that. And so I'm going to continue to do this show the way that I do it. I'm going to try to help you guys out and make some money, try to pick up some winners and put a little extra money in your pocket. So let's take a look at the lines real quick. So we're going to go with college hoops here today. There's a couple games on. Man, there are some tough matchups. I would look at Clemson just because NC State is one of the worst teams against the spread here this year. They have won 7 times all year against the spread. They're actually putting up a fight for the worst team against the spread in the country. So the ACC tournament is starting here today. Jacksonville is a team that's been very good against the spread. They're 19-7. They're playing Bellarmine. Is that what they're called? And for some reason, they are underdogs. And I'm looking at it right now. Bellarmine, I don't get it. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville on that one. That is the ASUN championship game. Also, the Northeast Conference tournament, the final between Bryant and Wagner, 2 teams that have just been juggernauts this year, so that's a big stay away. It's a shame that those teams are actually playing. North Carolina and Wilmington's been a very good cash cow, and they're catching 2.5 points in the CAA championship game against Delaware. They're Blue Hens! Also, Northern Kentucky is on a very weird run. They haven't, I believe in their last 15 games, they are 13-2 against the spread. There might be 12-3, something patently absurd. And they are actually playing Wright State in the Horizon League final here today as well. But one of the teams that has, I'm thinking they may have overtaken NC State. Yep. Cal State Bakersfield is 5-16-2 against the spread. Unfortunately, they are playing Cal State Northridge, who is 10-17 against the spread. Each of those teams are on the fade list, but whoever wins that game right now, Northridge is catching 6.5. Whoever wins that game is going to be a pretty heavy underdog in the next game. Boy, not a lot of action here today. Not too much that I like. I was looking at Southern Miss, UTSA. Southern Miss was a pretty good fade all year. But, sometimes you got to cut your units in half, do half a unit if you need to have action. I know a lot of us have to have action or we just enjoy it. And so hope shooting off the hip here today on the moralities of the National Football League. I just kind of had to find a microphone and a camera and speak the truth because for a wide receiver to be kicked out of the league in his prime for an entire season, when you look at the suspension history of this league, tough one to swallow. But while we're here, let's take a look at the association tonight. The Cavs are playing; they're pretty good against the spread. Oh boy. New Orleans and Memphis is actually a game that no one thought they'd want to watch, but New Orleans has been killing everybody, and Memphis is certainly Memphis as well. You know what? I think I'm going to take today off. Might have some small action on some college hoops, but the news of the day was certainly the Calvin Ridley news, and I'm looking on ESPN right now. They're saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to return to the Packers. I just don't get it. I hope they are giving him a king's ransom, as they called it when the great one went to the Kings. Boy, there's a 1980s hockey reference. Wow. I really hope I'm attracting new and youthful listeners with that one. Whatever action you have today, good luck with your bets.